The conflict between the Maitai and Kuki communities in areas like Sugnu, Kamenlok, and Mora in Manipur, India, is deeply rooted in historical, social, and political factors. Understanding the complexities of this conflict requires delving into the history and dynamics of these communities. The Maitai people, primarily inhabiting the Imphal Valley, are one of the major ethnic groups in Manipur, with a rich cultural heritage and a history dating back centuries. On the other hand, the Kukis, an indigenous hill tribe, reside in the hills surrounding the valley. Both communities have distinct cultures, languages, and traditions. Historically, the relationship between the Maitai and Kuki communities has been marked by periods of cooperation as well as conflict. One source of tension stems from the competition for land and resources, exacerbated by colonial and post-colonial policies that favored certain groups over others. The Maitai, with their dominant presence in the valley, have often held political and economic power, leading to perceptions of marginalization among the Kuki population. The issue of land ownership and territorial disputes has been a significant driver of conflict between the two communities. The Maitai, who traditionally occupied the valley, have expanded their settlements into areas traditionally inhabited by the Kukis. This encroachment has led to friction, as the Kukis feel their land rights are being violated. Furthermore, the influx of migrants from other parts of India into Manipur has further complicated the demographic landscape, intensifying competition for resources and political representation. The Maitai, seeking to protect their cultural identity and political influence, have sometimes viewed the Kukis as a threat to their dominance in the region. The conflict has also been fueled by historical grievances and perceptions of discrimination. The Kukis have long felt marginalized within the state, with limited access to education, healthcare, and other basic services. This sense of neglect has contributed to feelings of resentment and alienation, leading to sporadic outbreaks of violence. The role of armed groups and insurgency movements in the region has added another layer of complexity to the conflict. Various Kuki militant groups have emerged, advocating for greater autonomy or secession from Manipur. These groups have engaged in armed conflict with both the state government and Maitai insurgent groups, further destabilizing the region. Efforts to address the conflict have been hampered by mistrust, deep-seated grievances, and a lack of effective communication between the two communities. Government initiatives aimed at promoting dialogue and reconciliation have had limited success, as underlying issues of land rights, identity, and political representation remain unresolved. In recent years, there have been some positive developments, including efforts to promote inter-community dialogue and cooperation. Civil society organizations, religious leaders, and community elders have played a crucial role in fostering understanding and reconciliation between the Maitai and Kuki communities. However, lasting peace and stability will require addressing the root causes of the conflict, including issues of land rights, economic development, and political representation. It will also require a concerted effort from all stakeholders, including the government, civil society, and the communities themselves, to work towards a future where all residents of Manipur can live in harmony and prosperity. The issue of Maitai intrusion into Kuki territory in Manipur is a contentious and multifaceted issue that has contributed to tensions between the two communities. This intrusion is often perceived by the Kuki community as a violation of their land rights and a threat to their cultural identity and way of life. Historically, the Maitai people have primarily inhabited the Imphal Valley, while the Kukis have resided in the surrounding hills. However, over time, there has been a gradual expansion of Maidai settlements into areas traditionally inhabited by the Kukis. This encroachment has been driven by various factors, including population growth, agricultural expansion, and infrastructure development. One of the primary drivers of Maidai intrusion into Kuki territory is the pressure on land resources in the densely populated Info Valley. As the Maidai population has grown, there has been an increasing demand for land for agriculture, housing, and other purposes. This has led to the expansion of Maidai settlements into the hills, often encroaching on land traditionally owned or used by the Kukis. Additionally, government policies and development projects have sometimes facilitated the encroachment of Maidai settlements into Kuki territory. For example, infrastructure projects such as roads, dams, and industrial zones have often been implemented without adequate consultation with or consent from the Kuki community, leading to displacement and loss of land for Kuki villagers. The encroachment of Maidai settlements into Kuki territory has also been fueled by political and economic factors. The Maidai, who have historically held more political and economic power in Manipur, have sometimes used their influence to acquire land in Kuki areas for commercial or agricultural purposes. This has led to tensions and conflicts between the two communities over land ownership and use rights. The intrusion of Maidai settlers into Kuki territory has had significant social and cultural implications for the Kuki community. It has led to a loss of traditional lands and livelihoods, as well as disruptions to Kuki cultural practices and social cohesion. Many Kuki villages have been marginalized and isolated as a result of encroachment by Maidai settlers, leading to feelings of resentment and alienation among the Kuki population. Efforts to address the issue of Maidai intrusion into Kuki territory have been hampered by a lack of effective governance, weak land tenure systems, and limited enforcement of land rights. While there have been some attempts to demarcate and protect Kuki lands, these efforts have often been insufficient to prevent further encroachment. Addressing the issue of Maidai intrusion into Kuki territory will require a concerted effort from all stakeholders, including the government, civil society organizations, and the Maidai and Kuki communities themselves. This will involve ensuring the protection of Kuki land rights, promoting dialogue and cooperation between the two communities, and implementing sustainable land management practices